exercises ever, it's going to be a Sunday well invested. Now, first of all, all the degrees that Yasmin ji explained to you about being a counselor and being a neuro-linguistic programmer and being a hypnotherapist, it has a very, very interesting history. And since you're going to be sharing the most intimate details of your life with me today, I'd like to take you through my history. Not very complicated. Now, once upon a time, there was this girl, 19-year-old, very happy, very cheerful, really not bothered about what's happening in the world, and had more boy friends than girl friends. So her father got really paranoid, and he said that, okay, before she does some kind of her own, let me pack her off and quickly get her married. So I was least bothered. I'm like, theek hai, at 20 you don't really have any ambitions. I didn't know what I wanted to do or what if I really wanted to be something. I wanted to be pampered for sure. I wanted to have a good time for sure. And the only ambition I really had was to be a good wife. So I'm like, okay, I don't mind getting married. So he found me a really nice, very good looking, settled man, and we got married literally the second day after I finished my TY exam. Now when I got married at 20, I had these very Yash Chopra dreams about what a marriage could be. So I envisioned for myself that, okay, Fridays are going to be dinners out, and Saturdays will be movies, and Sundays will be early morning walks on the beach and breakfast in a nice holiday inn. And I said, chalo, let's go for it. After I get married, I realized that Yash Chopra made a fool out of all of us basically. And none of that really happens on an everyday basis the way you want it. It does happen once in a while, yes. That's why we celebrate the birthdays and the anniversaries. And my husband, who turned out to be a complete workaholic. So we moved from Bombay to Bangalore, and he literally took me out of my comfort zone, and I was so miserable. I couldn't understand Kannada for the life of God. I didn't have anything to do. I had no friends. I had no work. And there I am, sleeping 16 hours a day, watching TV for the other 8 hours, eating for the rest, putting on 6-7 kilos in a span of 2-3 years. And I find that I'm in a complete depression the first 2 or 3 years of my life. And I'm like, yeah, this is not what I bargained for. Something is going terribly wrong. So I complained and I craved and I cried. Honestly, nothing worked because my husband was a different species altogether. And then everybody around me kept complaining, "Tu kitna roti hai yaar? Tu kitna complain karti hai? Do something about yourself." So I'm like, all right, let's go and do something. I found myself a life coach. Now this person who was my life coach, he trained me so much. I got to read so many books, and he kind of really got me down to ground realities, and I really took that counseling bit really seriously. When I did that, I realized that I'm okay. I've become okay now. Has anything changed with my husband? No, nothing. It was all the same on that front. Still going at 8 o'clock in the morning to work and coming back at midnight or 1 or 2 and working really hard. And then I'm like, how do I understand this man? There's something that I'm not understanding about him. Maybe, I need a sneak peek into his brain because he speaks very less. And like you can see, I speak a lot. So we were like poles apart. So then I did something which is called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's basically understanding the language of the brain and how the brain functions. I specifically did it so I could understand my husband's brain. And honestly, what happened? Nothing happened with my husband. I got 1 more degree. After that, I'm like, कुछ नहीं हुआ यार. इससे तो मेरा progression हो रहा है. Nothing really changed on that front. So then I'm like, how do I get him to really think the way I think? How do I get him to do the things that I want him to do? He's obviously not hypnotized by my looks or my cooking. So I need to do something else, and that's how I learned hypnotherapy. Thinking कि यार मैं कुछ करूँ, उसको hypnotize करूँ तो शायद वो मेरी नजरिए से कुछ देख सके, kind तो change आ उसे. What do you think happened? I got 1 more degree. I got 1 more degree. And in all these years, sometimes, people call me doctor. Honestly, I'm not a doctor, but after being married for 14 years, I feel like I have a PhD in marriage. And I've been married to the same man for 14 years, who's different every 3 years. Every 3 years, the same man changes into somebody else. And again, I'm like, okay, So now I have to redo my entire learning and unlearn whatever I knew about him. A good proof I have of the marriage is my 2 children. They copy me exactly. So I feel happy that chalo koi to hai mere jaisa. But literally here, I am not here because of these degrees. I am here because of an unusual qualification. And that unusual qualification is my marriage certificate. When the respected team members of your community, when they came looking for a counselor, they said, oh, we are very specific. We want somebody who is married. We don't want a counselor who is unmarried, even if the person is a doctor. And I realized that, with their experience, they know that the theory and the practical of marriage can be very different. So they wanted somebody who jo niche jaake dhakke bhi kha ke aaya hai. They've seen the joys also. So that's how I'm here. So there are a couple of people here who are just engaged, right? You said? How many of you? Raise your hands. Lovely. Welcome to the roller coaster. Welcome, and make sure you get your marriage certificate. Kabhi na kabhi to kaam mein aa hi jayega. Right. So I've learned through these 14 years that marriage is, firstly, it's an accident. Secondly, it's a decision. Once your accident happens, then it's all about a decision of how do you really want it to be. Do you want the same kind of marriage that you see in films? Do you want the same kind of marriage that you've seen your parents have? Do you want a completely different kind of marriage of your own rules, just the 2 of you? How do you want to make it? It's going to be more of a decision. And today we are going to work on that decision with you. And we're going to make sure that you make a good decision out of it. We have only one single-minded agenda. When you walk out of this room at 5 o'clock in the evening, you're going to be 2 people who are more happy, more cheerful, know each other a lot better, who are laughing through certain things. Arey yaar, wo to pata hi nahi tha. I know a lot of wives are going to nudge their husbands and say, "Yehi to main bol rahi thi aapko 3 saal se. Abhi paise de ke suno. You don't want to listen to me." That will happen. You'll see, and that happens a lot of time while I'm counseling also. See, I told you, and the husband will say, "Will you please shut up?" That happens. A lot of people here are wondering what the hell is happening, and I have this young couple here who's saying, "Come on, chill, yeah, it's going to be okay. Don't worry so much." So yeah, we are going to have all of those things. You're going to have fun and laugh with the process, interact with the process. Don't take it so seriously. I am an Alzheimer's patient. If I see my clients not reacting, I forget what I was saying. So I'll have to start right from the beginning. So make sure that you're a part of it. Yes? So you had enough of me. Now I'm going to get you out of your seats. And I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. But you're going to introduce your better half. So the husband's going to introduce the wife. The wife's going to introduce the husband. And not just with the name, but with one special quality that only you can see in your wife. So you're going to give us one sneak peek into what your wife is so good at. So my absent husband is here, so I'm going to introduce him. I'm going to say, "Hi guys, this is my husband. His name is Darshan, and he is a brilliant father." Okay? And he'll probably introduce me. "Hi, this is my wife, Kavyal. She's the most gorgeous wife in the world." I'm just making myself happy right now. He never says that. Yeah, but that's how you're going to introduce each other. Ready?